and welcome to 7 Minutes of Science, your weekly high-speed rundown of the week's top science stories with me, your host, Eddie Edwards, coming to you from Mission Acceptable. Okay, it's a big week for sports fans with the Super Bowl looming, but that doesn't really fit in with it being a science show. I'm just excited because I'm going to be up until about 6 in the morning drinking and watching the Super Bowl. Go Seahawks. So, without further ado, let's actually do the science news. Let's have 7 minutes on the clock. And in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Right, Monday. So let's start the week off with a nice happy story, shall we? We're all going to die be killed by extreme weather. New climate change models from Wenju Chang, Go-Chin Wang and Aga Sakutu, published in Nature Climate Change, have predicted that the heating of the Pacific Ocean will lead to certain areas flipping between incredibly wet and incredibly dry. More droughts in America, whilst the Western Pacific will see more floods. Now, obviously, this is all bad news, except the droughts in America. The nation that's really led the charge in not doing anything about this problem, whilst pretending it's not happening, which is a kind of a Schadenfreude moment. This is related to extreme La Nina, which currently happens about once every 23 years, but could happen every 13 years if current trends continue. These will most likely follow extreme El Nino events. All of this will probably kill a bunch of people. Don't worry though, it'll be poor people, not anyone important. And if the current trends continue, the poor will only be around 60 to 70% of the Earth's population by this point. So all in all, these weather patterns could be the deadliest thing to come out of the Pacific since. Thanks. Tuesday brings us the interesting news from the infinite abyss of space. On Monday, we got what I guess you could call semi-buzzed by a large asteroid that became within 1.2 kilometres of a little chunk of rock. So, obviously, us being the inquisitive little monkeys that we are, rather than hide underground until we were certain that we weren't about to be extincted, that's not a word, we instead used the opportunity to observe the bejesus out of it. And surprisingly, it had a moon. Annoyingly, the BBC article I found about this decided to waffle on about near-Earth objects and then focus on that rather than the fact that asteroids having moons is apparently a thing. I understood that there is nothing in the laws of physics that would indicate that an asteroid moon thing couldn't happen. It's just weird to stumble across it. So I checked out what NASA had to say, and it turns out they are also much more interested in discussing near-Earth objects. So fine, NASA is tracking asteroids. They're making sure they don't kill us. This one had a moon. That is apparently not really worth further comment, but I thought was kind of cool. Okay. Wednesday brought us the announcement by Israel Hershowitz and his team the discovery of a modern human skull dating back 55,000 years in Manok caves in Israel. This discovery, of course, is completely at odds with claims made by both the Torah and the Quran. So now everything will be fine in Israel. On a more serious note, that is more serious than hopes for a lasting peace in the Middle East, this skull is some of the first evidence of mass migration out of Africa that led us humans to taking over the planet. Something that so far has only been achieved by us, dinosaurs and trilobites. This implies, of course, that the humans of the region would have been the ancestors of every non-African human on the planet, especially when you consider the Middle East is a kind of geographical bottleneck between Africa and the rest of the world. This is one of those stories that really just confirms what we already knew rather than prove it giving us anything new. But it's just good proof of the predictive nature of science, what makes it the best form of thinking that exists. This work was published in the journal Nature and was discussed on the Nature podcast. Links, as always, down below. Okay, Thursday we learn that we are no longer the prettiest star system. For those wondering what I'm talking about, this is the Earth. From space, and she's mighty fine to look at, isn't she? She's, is it the prettiest planet in the solar system? No, of course it's not. It's Saturn. This is a picture of Saturn. This is a beautiful planet. So unless another system can outdo this, then we're golden. And the discovery of a new exoplanet with a ring system 200 times larger than the one around Saturn, which according to an artist's impression looks something like this. Yeah, the planet discovered by Matthew A. Kenworthy and Eric E. Memajek is estimated to have at least 30 rings, each measuring tens of millions of miles in diameter. There are gaps in the rings as well, which seem to suggest that the rings are coalescing into moons, which we can see happening in and around the Saturn system at present. So maybe Saturn started life like this, and all its lovely moons, such as Titan and Enceladus, were formed from a much more giniferous ring system. Oh, and also this data comes from the Super Wasp Observatory, and I spent 3 hours trying to think of something cool that I could reference with a giant insect in space, and couldn't think of anything, so here's a clip from Lex. Really, we couldn't find Lex. Okay, fine. Just to finish the story up, I do want to show you a picture of what our light sky would look like if Saturn had rings this size. Awesome, isn't it? Friday, we, or rather science, has a correction to a previous story. Last year, we covered the discovery by Bicep 2 team of wrinkles in the fabric of space-time that provided direct evidence for the inflation theory of cosmology. Inflation is a theory that the universe did most of its growth very, very quickly after the Big Bang. And, well, due to the fact that science is really a fancy way of saying, hey guys, are you seeing what we're seeing? Other people have now checked that, including the original team again, who have taken a second sweep at this. It turns out, no one is seeing what they're seeing. They were wrong. This work was also done with scientists from the Max Planck Institute, who were using an ESA satellite to search for the same evidence. New info, while disappointing, isn't unexpected, as the team had previously announced that they weren't as confident as initially thought. It's also worth noting that disappointing data is still data. This rules out areas for further searches into this same line of inquiry. Much like I now know never to drink tequila, because I did that a lot once and it was bad. Okay, and finally, sodium and potassium explode in water, as we all know from chemistry lessons at school. If you don't remember that, then you really should have paid more attention. Seriously, it involves a purple explosion. How was that not enough for you? It was also when I first touched my plan to get a helicopter full of cesium, hover it over the Thames and hold London to ransom. Can't shoot it down, drop into the Thames, it explode. However, the potassium reaction really shouldn't work. You see, there's not much in the way of surface area contact when you drop a granule into water, and the potassium is quickly surrounded by a gas that it shouldn't react with. However, a team out of the Czech Republic and Germany have now observed the reaction using incredibly high-speed cameras, and they've noticed that the reaction starts with spikes of potassium flying off at high speed. This is probably due to positively charged particles repelling each other, which probably kickstarts the reaction. This is pretty revolutionary thinking about something that you would have thought we'd have gotten locked down by now. So thanks to Philip E. Mason, Frank Uhlig, Valak Van Lev, and for thinking a little outside the box and expanding our understanding of cool explosions. And finally, humans like to think we're big shots. We like to think we're really, really cool, like we can do the best stuff. But what we can't do is make electrically charged nano silk fibres. This is something that spiders can do. This particular spider is called the garden centre spider. It has a fancy Latin name that I can't be bothered to remember or read. And basically, it's a little garden spider, a spider found commonly in the UK and all over the world. Garden centres are its usual home. And it doesn't attract catch flies by making the web sticky. It does it by making it statically charged. Kicks up little bundles of woolly fibres on there. They charge positively. Fly flies in and captures it. Just a great example of how, even though we have science and we have a way of looking forward, we are still billions of years behind the random trial and error and the selection of nature. So anyway, that's it. Under the 7 minutes. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed watching the show as much as I will enjoy, wait later, hopefully watching the Seahawks stop the Patriots. But anyway, yeah, I just really don't want them to win, but I don't want the Seahawks either. I really, it's more, I just don't want Tom Brady to get another Super Bowl ring, because he deserves some failure in his life. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoyed what we're doing, click the subscribe button down there. Down there? Is it? Sorry, I got a bit turned around. Anyway, click it. Also, click the like, click the share, comment. Do something, please. We appreciate it. And thank you very, very much for watching. And as always, good luck in your endeavours. If your endeavours be good. Goodbye.